and welcome to the news here on Magic Breaks Now, India's first 24/7 property business channel. I'm Krishna Kumar. Let's take a look at the top stories that we're tracking. The Delhi government has announced the odd-even plan for car use within city limits, and it will come into action on the 1st of January. However, the government does not have answers to how it will beef up the public transportation system yet. Will this plan fix Delhi's air pollution crisis or create a bigger transport issue? Meanwhile, Mumbaikars may have to shell out more moolah. The Maharashtra state government is all set to adopt a new formula to calculate property tax. This could make buying, selling homes in old buildings in the city more expensive. Relief for Bengaluru home buyers. The Karnataka state government will not hike guidance values in Bengaluru this year. The December deadline looms closer and cities are going all out to win that coveted top 20 spot. In our special series, War of the Cities, we get you details of Newtown, Kolkata's plans to get smart. That's a Magic Breaks Now exclusive. Now, if you plan to buy a home in one of Mumbai's old buildings, be prepared to pay high property taxes. This is because the government plans to change how you calculate property taxes. However, if you are buying a home in a new building, the new year could bring you something to cheer about. My colleague Disha Shah gets us this report on what's in store for home buyers in Mumbai in 2016.
That's right, and what we hear from our government sources is that BMC will not likely hike the ready reckoner rates next year. This could come as a huge relief for home buyers and for people who are waiting to buy homes in the city of Mumbai. On top of that, the tax outgo that you pay in terms of stamp duty and registration fees will also remain untouched and will not change. However, as a home buyer, if you are planning to buy a home in an old building which is say over 5 years of age, that transaction could become expensive because the government has come up with a circular, a new method of calculating depreciation in respect to old buildings. So that means that you could end up spending more because starting 2016, that is from next year onwards, you will have to pay property taxes based on the carpet area and not based on the built-up area anymore. And the copy of the circular that we have got exclusively at Magic Bricks Now clearly defines that what are the elements, what are the factors that will be included in the carpet area. When we say carpet area, that means service area, refugee area, entrance lobby, all this will be included in your carpet area, and elements like staircase, passage, meter room, elevator tank, all these won't be included in your carpet area. So this means that the outgo that you pay as an individual will increase because the base price has reduced. And lastly, when we spoke to legal experts, they say that the individual outgo with this development could rise up to 15%.
Now, to get a clear perspective on this, we are being joined by advocate Vinay Singh. Vinay, thank you so much for joining us here live on the news on Magic Breaks Now. Talk to us, tell us, what does this mean for home buyers? Do they have to shell out more in terms of tax now?
The system that has been evolved now is a capital value system, which means that you will be taxed based upon the capital value, the actual value of your property as per the reckoner issued by the state government. So yes, there will be an increase, and the corporation is looking at maybe an increased revenue of around 15%, but that is also because the property rates have gone up.
So how the new circular will affect a resident who is living in an old building which is more than, say, 5 years old?
See, what happens generally is that the taxes do tend to rise because in an older building the taxes are frozen from at the point of time when the building was constructed. So today, if we are going to base it on market value, yes, there is going to be a rise. There is also a cap though. The taxes cannot rise beyond a certain point. So that is to make sure that you don't find a very drastic increase in the taxes. Nonetheless, you will find that in the new rates, quite a few places there has been a substantial increase in taxes, and that is bound to be there because the values have changed dramatically. So yes, people residing in older buildings will pay higher tax.
Okay, Vinay, and what about a home buyer who is planning to buy a home in an old building?
This is a call everyone will have to take. Now, obviously, if you take Mumbai, values are go on increasing as you move south, and they go on decreasing as you move north generally. So you will have to take a call. If you want to live in Cuff Parade, then be prepared to pay higher tax. And conversely, if you want to live in the suburbs, you want to go to Borivali, definitely you are going to pay lesser tax. Somewhere as prices go up, the cost of your services go up, the taxes have to go up. But it is only a question of whether the increase is reasonable or unreasonable.
Okay, Vinay, we will let it go with that. Vinay Singh, advocate, thank you so much for being with us here on the news on Magic Bricks Now. Moving on. What comes as a relief for home buyers and developers in Bengaluru, the state government has gone ahead and decided to not hike guidance values or the ready reckoner rate in Bengaluru. The big question, however, is whether the time to buy is now. Rahul Dayama has those details. Take a look.
Certainly a huge relief for home buyers and developers there. Remember, we at Magic Bricks Now told you about a proposal that the Stamp and Registrations Department was considering to hike guidance value at over 20 to 30% and in fact 50 to 100% in a few areas in Bengaluru. But now we understand that they've decided to not revise guidance value this financial year. Remember, guidance value is the minimum valuation at which properties must register with the government. This is used to assess stamp duty and registration charges. The two main reasons for them to consider this decision was in keeping mind the larger market sentiment and also the fact that after having revised guidance value last year, they saw a slump in registration of properties in the city. Remember, BBMP has been cash strapped and is looking for ways to boost its revenue, and this was something that would have helped them, but in the larger interest of home buyers, developers, and the fact that they saw a slowdown in registrations prompted them to take this decision. If you're in Bengaluru or planning to invest in the market, there is no better time than now.
Away from all that to round 2 of the centre's Smart City Plan and the War of the Cities, which has begun. Even as the mid-December deadline is nearing, civic bodies across the country are doing everything they can to make it to the top 20 list. Today, we talk about Newtown, the satellite city on northeastern fringe of Kolkata and its Smart City plans. Aishwarya Paliwal has the latest on what the city is planning. Take a look.
Newtown, Kolkata is a newly planned satellite city in northeastern fringe of Kolkata. Spread across 7,000 acres, this city has an approximate residing population of close to 36,000, with an expected growth of 10% on a year-on-year basis. Approximately 80,000 people visit this city every day. The current number of commercial establishments are greater than 1,200. There are a large number of smart pilot projects which have been undertaken by the Newtown Kolkata Development Authority. The authority wants to administer governance by using mobile apps. They are also looking at using pneumatic solid waste management systems in their parks. Providing free Wi-Fi facilities in some parts of the town is also on the agenda. They are working on harvesting rainwater and recycling waste. They are also looking at providing 100% utility ducts. All these measures are aimed at making this city truly smart. The authority is also emphasizing on area-based development. They plan to divide the city and provide facilities like rooftop solar panels, water management systems, smart parking, open spaces for citizens, and real-time monitoring through CCTVs. They also have traffic signals located for smooth commuting. The authority is also looking at providing pan-city solutions to its citizens through its portal, which will take care of licenses, certificates, citizen services, and permissions. The authority has also involved citizens by taking their feedback. And one of the major areas where citizens gave their feedback were walkability and transport, followed by health. With a plan like this in place, Newtown Kolkata Development Authority is clearly leaving no stone unturned to make this new town shine.
Thank you, Aishwarya, for that. And to take that forward, we are being joined on the phone line by Devashish Singh, Chairman and Managing Director, West Bengal Housing Infrastructure Development Corporation. Devashish, thank you so much for being with us here on the news on Magic Bricks. Now, talk to us about your big plans for making Newtown in Kolkata smart.
Well, it is already smart. Newtown Kolkata is already smart, but what we are planning to do under the Smart City program is to make it smarter, to make it truly international. And we are really putting out our polishing touches for meeting the deadline of the 15th December for submitting the smart city plan to Ministry of Urban Development in Delhi. And next day after tomorrow on the 10th, there is a high power committee headed by the state level high power committee headed by the Chief Secretary of the state, and which will finally scrutinize and recommend the smart city plan to Delhi.
Devashish, area-based development is one of the key criteria for this phase. What kind of area-based development are you looking at for Newtown?
Well, as I commented earlier, Newtown is already smart, but in this area, Newtown, after all, is divided into three broad zones, Action Area 1, 2, and 3. We have chosen Action Area 1, which started developing the first, as to be the center of all smart solutions. We are looking at a number of ways in which it can make use of LED lights and all kinds of smart solutions like smart parking and IT solutions. We are tying up with CII, we are tying up with IBM, we are tying up with NASCOM. We are getting all kinds of inputs that is necessary, and we have really put together a plan which, if implemented, which will be a lighthouse for the rest of Kolkata and perhaps India.
All right, talk to us. What kind of houses are we looking at over here in Newtown, Kolkata, and how do you plan to utilize the funds that you get from the government for this project?
Well, in housing, we are very flatly and firmly favored towards green building. We are saying that green buildings are the things that we must look at, and we are perhaps the only place that I know of where 10% extra FAR or FSI is being given for green buildings. The rule has already been changed, the policy is in place, and so much so that we are trying to give all kinds of incentives to even small householders, and we have devised a special policy within our smart city plan to make houses green. And what we are really proud of is setting us certain zero targets. We are saying that in Smart Newtown, in the area-based development, which will be a lighthouse for the rest of Calcutta, it will have a zero littering, zero solid waste, zero wastewater, zero filament lamp, and most importantly, a zero visitor place where people don't have to come to the government departments for complaining. They can use all kinds of online solutions.
And before we let you go, when can talk to us about the draft proposal? When is that ready to be submitted to the government?
Well, we are working all through the day. Last weekend, we worked all through the Sunday, and we have a wonderful team together, and we are burning our midnight oils to put polishing to the final plan, and we hope to give it on time.
Singh, Chairman and Managing Director, thank you so much for joining us here live on the news on Magic Bricks Now. And on that note, it is time for a Magic Bricks Now exclusive. Then Mahindra Life Spaces' Sangeeta Prasad was among the Indian delegates at the Paris Climate Change Conference, where she presented a paper on sustainable development. My colleague Disha Shah spoke with her on her return. Listen in.
Some of the points which we as a corporate practitioner of cities brought around was the strength of a strong vision, the robustness of a vision. And as you know, our vision is to transform our urban landscape into sustainable communities. How do we start from the day we conceive a city? Because if you don't bring in functionality, electrical, plumbing, HVAC, apart from architectural concept in your city, you are not there, because you're not thinking about climate, you're not thinking about energy and water efficiency. Bringing that at a concept and design stage, then developing your city like that. But yes, be clear that a city is a long-term proposition, so we should not be rigid in our planning.
What are the main challenges on that front?
The main challenge first will be the mindset, as you know. If we believe something is possible, we strive towards it. And when I say we believe, it is not only we, the stakeholders who we work with. Who are the stakeholders? Government. So both our cities are PPPs. So getting the government on board, having a common vision, so that's the first mitigation of challenge. Then the next are the urban planners, the structural designers, the villages and communities around you. I would say getting yourself first to be convinced as a corporate, getting your stakeholders to believe in the common vision, and then work towards it.
So you speak about value engineering. So does this mean that the whole chain, entire supply chain for a real estate project needs to be transformed if you want to reduce carbon footprint?
If we say whatever tools and templates are available and we will follow the path, then we cannot be pioneers. And that's what, in our humble way, in our city creation, we have been trying to follow. As I mentioned earlier, designing all aspects of the city or a building from the beginning, thinking of passive architecture, thinking of orientation, and at every stage of the project, at the design, at the planning, at the implementation, looking at scopes of value engineering, both from material, specifications, but be careful. Think of the citizen and your customer. Value engineering is not about value erosion. Value engineering is about giving a product which is suitable for the customer but not over-designed.
So Mahindra Life Spaces has made its first carbon neutral project. So tell us, do you need to have a project of a certain size to make it eco-friendly, or this can be done in the case of individual complexes also?
4 or 5 years back, when we started in our sustainability journey in a very coherent manner, when we put out our vision, we said all our buildings in residential project will have to be mandated to be green. So it is not about the size, it is about the innovation in how you design that project which comes into play. And since then, we have never fallen out of place into that intent. So it works for buildings also.
The Delhi government has announced the OddEven Plan for car use within city limits. This plan comes into action on New Year's Day, 1st of January in Delhi. You will only get to drive your car if your registration number is an odd number. That is, your car number should end in 1, 3, 5, 7 or 9. Cars with numbers ending in 2, 4, 6, 8 or 0 can be driven on every other day. My colleague Deepa Rana was at the conference where the plan was announced and is standing by with all the details. Deepa, break this down, this big plan for us.
The Delhi government has come out with a pilot plan of 15 days to counter air pollution in Delhi with their odd and even formula. The Transport Minister held a PC here in Delhi today, and he has announced the initial plans, how they plan to go about the odd and even formula in Delhi to counter the vehicular emission that is happening. Gopal Rai, the Transport Minister, has said that initially it's going to be date-wise. So on January 1, 2016 is going to be the turn of the odd number cars that are going to be allowed to be on road, and on January 2nd is going to be the even number cars that are going to be on road, and consecutively it will follow according to the date. Another interesting thing is that the blueprint of this plan is not yet released, and the Delhi government is saying that they're going to come out with the blueprint before December 25 and implement this pilot plan of 15 days starting from January 1, 2016. There are some interesting points that Gopal Rai has mentioned. He has said that women and differently abled might be exempted from this odd and even formula, considering the women's safety issues in Delhi. Also, he has said that they are looking to hire more buses and more transport to counter and to give alternate to the Delhiites how to leave their cars and go out on roads safe on the public transport. Also, we are awaiting more information to be announced by the Delhi CM himself on December 10. A review meeting is going to be held, and Delhi CM is going to come out more about this plan, and also a blueprint is going to be released before December 25. That's what we are hearing in Delhi.
Deepa Rana, thank you so much for joining us with that update. Now, before this, Deepa spoke to some citizens and asked them what they thought of the OddEven plan. Listen to what they had to say.
उसमें तो समस्या आएगी, इसमें सबसे ज़्यादा समस्या आएगी। इतने हमारे पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट है ही नहीं। ऑटो वाला मनमर्जी करेगा, जितना मांगना चाहेगा वो मांगेगा, और नहीं देंगे तो जाएगा नहीं। उसके लिए तो ये अभी तो असंभव लग रहा है। बाकी करने के ऊपर है कि कितना अमल में आएगा।
ना पब्लिक को कोऑपरेट करना पड़ेगा। अगर हमारा स्वास्थ्य ठीक रहेगा तो गाड़ियाँ चलेगी। अगर केवल गाड़ियों के लालच में एक तरफ से तो कहते हैं कि भाई पोल्यूशन खत्म होना चाहिए, एक तरफ से कहते हैं हम पूरा एंजॉय भी करें, गाड़ियाँ पूरी चलाएं, तो पॉसिबल है ना।
आई थिंक इट्स डेफिनेटली अ ग्रेट आइडिया बिकॉज समथिंग हैज टू बी डन अबाउट दिस। वी ऑल नो हाउ सीरियस इट इज। So the government has really deliberated and proposed after, it's a very well thought, and it will definitely work.
अगर हम अपने बच्चे को आगे लेके चलेंगे इस चीज़ के लिए तो उसके लिए गाड़ी भी ज़रूरी है हमारे लिए. अगर गाड़ी नहीं मिलेगी तो फिर कोई वही नहीं है वैल्यू दिल्ली में. तो इसीलिए हम सोचते हैं कि गाड़ी बंद नहीं होनी चाहिए.
So an ambitious plan to reduce air pollution in New Delhi. However, it does have quite a few glitches. One, the government has not yet beefed up the public transportation system in the city to take on extra commuter loads. Secondly, connectivity is still an issue in many localities. So the question we're asking here is, will this plan fix the city's air pollution crisis, or will it create a bigger transport issue? To tell us more about this, we are being joined by transport expert Sudhir Badami. Sudhir, thank you so much for being with us here on the news on Magic Bricks Now. Talk to us. Restricting cars on the road, is that enough to reduce pollution in the first place?
Yes, it is, because right now the condition is so bad. I give an analogy of a child who is having a very high temperature. So what is the first thing that you do is you do call the doctor or you take the child to the hospital. But more important is that the forehead has to be kept cool, the brain has to be kept cool, and therefore you put the wet cloth or kerchief on the forehead. This is emergency, and I think people must respond to that. People belonging to all hues and cries. There's even the ladies who are talking about women's safety. I think it's ridiculous, because I think they must find ways to have carpooling done. So if there's pressure, people respond and they have to find ways, and they will find ways. We can't wait for public transport to be brought in. I hope this government starts thinking about BRTS very seriously. But right now, you can't bring in BRTS overnight. And right now, I think you have to breathe properly. And I think one way to do it is what they have considered now, what you have announced, odd days for odd numbers and even days for even numbers. Earlier, somebody was talking about Monday, Wednesday, Friday, things like that. But I think this even day and odd day, dates-wise, fits very well. And that also gives the benefit that on a Saturday, the same cars will not have the ban on them. That's the main thing which I look at it.
All right, Sudhir, that's the reason why we're talking to you. You know, Delhi is yet to fix its transportation system. The metro doesn't connect the entire city yet. So while this is crucial and necessary to bring the temperature of this baby down when it's having fever, do you think this plan will create more problems than the ones it can fix?
It all depends on the members of the family. I consider Delhiites as a family together, and each one of them starts saying, "Mera kya hoga?" I think Delhiites have to suffer. They have to rise to the occasion because situation is bad. Emergency situations can be tackled, and they are very few in number. So we can't generalize it. Stick to these numbers. Those who want to go to hospital, they can take their car and ensure that they go to hospital. Some verification will have to be done. I think that can be done. There's no problem on that. If they are lying, then they should be punished more severely than normal punishment. These are the hard tasks that the government has to take, and people have to rise to the occasion. We know what happened in Tamil Nadu, in Chennai. People rose to the occasion many times. So I think Delhiites have to realize this.
All right, then. Sudhir Badami, the transport expert, thank you so much for joining us here with your perspective on that big story. Moving on, the Indian job market is perking up. According to the latest Manpower Employment Outlook, Indian employers are the most bullish when it comes to hiring in the Jan to March quarter of 2016, with 42% employers planning to hire. This is the second consecutive time that India is topping the hiring list. The survey expects job gains in all 7 industry sectors. Transportation and utilities are expected to hire the most, followed by finance, insurance and real estate. Public administration and education and wholesale and retail trade as well are there and there. The services sector is also upbeat on hiring, with 43% expected to add to the payrolls. While all 4 regions of India, north, south, east and west, are expected to grow, the strongest hiring will be seen in the north, followed by the western region. But why are we at Magic Bricks now telling you about all this? Increased jobs means an increase in disposable income and correspondingly increase in demand for housing, especially rental housing. So if you're looking to invest in a flat which you want to rent out, this report should help you. Now, moving on. In an update to the Bengaluru lake issue, incessant rains in the city is only making the situation worse. Rising water levels in the locality has not just led to contamination of drinking water, but residents have been complaining of health issues as well. Only a couple of days ago, Magic Bricks now brought you those jarring images of the lake, which can now be seen even on Google Maps. Also, remember, the BWSSB has submitted its proposal to the BDA and work is slated to begin once the weather conditions in the city improve, and we will keep you updated on this as and when the story progresses. And with that, we have indeed run out of time here on this edition of the news. But remember, if you have any feedback or suggestions for us, write to us on the email ID at the bottom of your screen, but also on Twitter and Facebook. So feel free to tweet to us or post a query on our Facebook page. We would absolutely love to hear from you. Also remember to check out our live streaming website, www.mbnow.in. And with that, this is Krishna Kumar signing off.